In this section, we will highlight some current and emerging issues facing our aging society. There are about 770,000 people in Taiwan in need of long-term care who rely heavily on migrant workers. 2 years ago, the Ministry of Labor relaxed the rule by allowing those over 85 with mild loss of faculties to apply for foreign caregivers, but only 700 people have applied over the past 2 years. Now that the Long-Term Care 2.0 project has been implemented, legislators asked the Ministry of Labor to review the policy.
There are about 35,000 people with mild loss of faculties aged 85 or above who need help to eat, take a bath and carry on daily life. In August 2015, the Ministry of Labour allowed such people to apply for a foreign carer. 2 years on, only 734 people have applied. Now that the Long-Term Care 2.0 project has been implemented, legislators say that the original policy was hurriedly introduced and asked the Ministry of Labour to review it. Legislator Wu Yuqin said that at the time the MOL did not listen to opposition from various sectors and insisted on opening up applications. Wu said this was not only unfavourable for development of long-term care, but those with mild disability would develop over-reliance on foreign workers and their situation would degrade faster. The Ministry of Labour said it began to review the issue and is currently collecting views from all walks of life. The MOL said at the time the policy was made because people responded that there was a lack of care staff, but now that the new long-term policy has been implemented, it would discuss it with the Ministry of Health and Welfare, and the review report was expected by the end of February.
There are 600,000 people in Taiwan over the age of 65 who suffer from more than 2 types of chronic diseases. They have to spend a lot of time and effort running from one hospital department to another. That's why in 2009, a comprehensive care plan was introduced, allowing patients to wait at one department for treatment for different diseases, which has helped save time, energy, and resources for both patients and hospitals alike.
80-year-old Ms. Chen suffers from chronic diseases such as high blood pressure and hepatitis C. She often goes back to big hospitals for checkups and prescriptions. But because different departments prescribe different medicines, she once had to take 10 different pills a day.
以前更多颗，以前是10几颗，那现在是慢慢的它的整合，然后去检查。现在剩4、5颗了。
Ms. Chen became dizzy and was unable to stand. Visits to the ear, nose, and throat and neurology departments failed to improve her condition. Later, friends and relatives introduced her to the geriatric medicine department, and there she discovered that her problems were the result of a stroke. Now that her doctor has adjusted her medications, she only has to take 4 or 5 pills a day, cutting out half of the medicine she had been taking.
来这边的话是觉得说，把他整个身体都检查，到底哪里有问题，详细的检查，然后才发现说他就是那个脑中风。
According to the National Health Insurance Administration, there are around 600,000 people over the age of 65 in Taiwan who suffer from more than 2 types of chronic diseases. They might go to see a doctor at Hospital A for their diabetes and another doctor at Hospital B for high blood pressure. They keep going to the hospital over and over and get a pile of medicine. They may take the wrong medicine, take the same medicine more than once, or take medicines that interact with one another.
譬如血压要吃过多，血压就会偏低嘛；血糖要吃过多，血糖就会偏低。那血压偏低，人可能就会觉得昏昏沉沉的；那血糖偏低，就会有低血糖的问题，就很容易昏倒啊，或者是跌倒之类的。
In order to improve patient safety, the National Health Insurance Administration rolled out a plan to consolidate different hospital departments in 2009. They only have to go to one department, and they can get treatment for all chronic illnesses. From the 120,000 people who received comprehensive care around Taiwan in 2015, we can see that the average number of monthly visits to hospital departments per person has fallen by 0.8. This can reduce the number of annual visits by 95,000. If each person spends 2,000 NT dollars per visit, this can cut healthcare expenditures by 190 million NT dollars.
这个计划实施之后呢，对于病人的整个的用药安全啊，好，或者是整个病人就医的一个流程的简化，好，其实是有相当大的注意。
The National Health Insurance Administration says 188 hospitals have joined this plan in the 8 years since it was launched, but not many elderly people know about these geriatric care units. The biggest challenge now is changing elderly people's habits surrounding seeking medical care in order to raise the quality of their treatment and their lives.
Medical care is vital in an aging society, but ensuring the resources are distributed equally is also equally important. Elderly people in rural areas not only face problems such as a lack of transportation and medical resources, they might not even have the education to know when they should go see a doctor, which could lead to delays in diagnosis and treatment.
87-year-old Ms. Lai pulls apart shell leaf stems and weaving them into mats. This used to be one of the handicrafts she was best at making, so now her family encourages her to keep making them. Ms. Lai was diagnosed with dementia, and this can help slow down the worsening of her condition.
不是叫我们错名字，就是不记得我们，不然就是我要回家，就开始打包行李全部背，然后往下面走。那时候后面我慢慢注意，原来是，其实老人家已经迈入那个4字，应该是已经有，但我们不知道。
Ms. Lai, who lives in Pingdong County, slowly began to behave in ways her family found strange more than 10 years ago. But it wasn't until 2014 when her daughter-in-law took Ms. Lai to see a doctor, who confirmed that she was already in the middle stages of dementia. In Pingdong County, the number of elderly people with dementia who wait to see a doctor until they are already in the middle stages of the disease is 1.8 times higher than in Kaohsiung.
偏乡的失智症的患者来就医的时候，通常他的严重度是比较严重的。对，那我们在治疗上面来讲的话，就会增加一些难度。
Further figures taken from research show that the prevalence of dementia outside of Taiwan's 5 main metro areas is twice that found inside. This shows that the rate at which people in rural areas seek medical attention is behind that of people in urban areas. Getting care in rural areas is harder too.
我老公要很早上班，然后我上班，然后我说如果老人家这样就是一开始是按照我们的意思，我说那干脆我辞职好了，我来看婆婆。
Ms. Lai's family later discovered that her main symptoms are called sundown syndrome. As long as there's someone with her, they don't need to worry as much. However, 87-year-old Jian Ji, who has a family that can't stay with him because they all work, with no one else around to divert his attention, the only thing he does is sweep every day.
那些小姑小叔有在的时候，他就很快乐的样子。可是因为我们平常全部都在上班，都在家，所以白天他都是一个人这样。
Having family members that can't stay with dementia patients isn't something unique to the countryside, but local therapists think that what needs to be changed is a lack of resources.
平衡有一点不稳的时候，他可能就离不开家门了，离不开家里的范围了。然后当他跟人家沟通的时候，可能文不对题的时候，他是缺乏很大量的在都会区的这种高龄的热活的资源。
Pingdong Christian Hospital is trying to expand the number of daytime care centers in rural areas, and it is also working with convenience stores on community education to teach local people to seek medical treatment early on. The hospital hopes this will help offset a lack of medical resources for the elderly in rural areas.
With Taiwan's population growing older, houses are no longer just property to buy or sell. They can also be a source of retirement funding. Banks are working to promote a government initiative to provide more flexible reverse mortgage loans. Anyone over 65 with a home under their names can apply, and they can get up to 70% of the property's value depending on its location. Banks believe that this can put assets to work, stimulate demand, and spur the growth, while some scholars and experts remain quite skeptical.
This is the first floor of an old 5-story apartment building in Taipei's Zhongshan district. Its market value comes to 30 million NT dollars. The owner is an 83-year-old woman. She gave the property in her name to her son long ago. She says that if she didn't have a son, she might consider the government's recent plan allowing the elderly to mortgage their property to the government in exchange for a monthly payment.
有家人就留下来是好的，他没有家里没有人留也没有用啊，有房子做抵押也可以，你有拿钱回来养这个老人家就可以了，比没有人养还好啊。
Government banks have begun to promote this government program and loosen the requirements for approval. It will no longer be limited to those without heirs. Here's a comparison of different banks' requirements. The Bank of Taiwan requires applicants to be between the ages of 60 and 80, while other banks allow anyone over 60 to apply. The Bank of Taiwan limits the loan period to 25 years, while the other banks set their limits at 30 years. Interest rates start at 2%.
于新北市或台北市，而且在捷运站1000公尺的范围之内，那么最高可以做到认定价的70%。那如果在1000公尺以外的话，或其他县市的话，就是60%。
比较偏远的，对银行来说，当然不动产的价值呢是比较低。未来这样的一个资产要做处分，它所需要的成本或者是处分的时间会需要拉长，可能呢会形成呆账。
This program could lead to bad debts and drag down government finances. Scholars suggest that the government can work with social welfare organizations.
这个房子来捐赠给社福团体，包括伊甸基金会，由这些社会福利团体提供了不是金钱，是提供了社会照顾，所以政府应该鼓励到各种不同方式，让他可以去操作。
But bankers associations say this isn't just a social welfare policy. If the program can get off the ground, it will also support economic growth.
如果这个年长者他能够利用以房养老的话，他能够拿到一些持续的资金，而且又不会担心被扫地出门。我相信他会把这个消费力贡献出来。当老年人愿意出来消费，这个时候你才能把整个银发族产业带起来，是跟我们的经济成长的动能有关系。
Taiwan has absorbed the experiences of Japan, the U.S., and Europe, and it is now promoting a program of reverse mortgage loans. As long as the necessary supporting measures are in place, and the program includes provisions for long-term care or insurance, Taiwan's elderly people will have more than their house in old age.
Where there are challenges, there are also opportunities. As Taiwan's population ages, the need for long-term care services will continue to grow. So some life insurance companies think that long-term care should be commercialized with an injection of private capital. But some civic groups worry that the drawbacks might outweigh its disadvantages when the long-term care is turning to a business.
These elderly people are clapping their hands and moving around. Once they're done exercising, they're splitting up into teams for a board game. As Taiwan's population grows older, there will be a growing need for long-term care services. But where should the money to do this come from?
需要多少，你可以收多少税。那保险的话，就是你一定先收了保险费，等着用。那先收了保险费，庞大的这个保险基金在那边，通常会浪费或者误用。
当我们高龄化速度那么快，这个税收有没有办法跟着一直成长？所以如果财源不稳定，那么对于未来整个的趋势发展是不利的，所以除非就是加税，保险未必现在是时机，但是也许再往后面一点，它也许比较成熟。
There could be a designated tax, with local governments submitting plans in order to get assistance from the central government. The central government can use these plans to understand the needs of different areas. The downside to this is that the sources of funding will not be stable. People might also pay into the system along with their national health insurance fees, gradually expanding the regulation of long-term care. But the downside here is that it will diminish the role of local governments, and at the same time, it could put more demands on the insurance system, leading to waste. But with the swearing in of the new government, it is far more likely that the tax system will be used. But given the financial issues involved, the fast growth of Taiwan's elderly population, and the lack of caregivers, is it enough to rely on the government alone to solve this problem?
因为保险业它能够提供更完善的这个照护机构，甚至于更大面积的所谓的这个，不管是疗养村或者安养村。那商业保险这方面，它就可以结合它的保单，它可能在年轻的时候就开始启动这个机制。
Insurance companies think that using private funding and commercializing long-term care services is both necessary and highly feasible. But there are civic groups that think profit and returns should not be the main consideration.
你送的机构它的目的是盈利的话，它可能会为了赚到更多钱而降低成本。那降低成本，也许照顾的品质有可能下降。第二点是为了要盈利，为了要 cost down， 它有可能要剥削照顾人员。
我们从171个单位变181个单位，可是呢，我们的总人口站在这几年每年挣不到500位。比如说这些服务员来讲的话，他现在在政府的定义里面都是，他是有点像是打零工啊，或是工读的感觉。那其实呢，到底它就没办法变成一个规模化的部分。那这样子不要讲说是产业好了，其实现在连非营利组织在经营上都非常的辛苦。
People working in long-term care feel that the current environment isn't good for caregivers, and so it is hard to find enough people to do the job. Without the workers or the financial resources, providing adequate long-term care, either in the home and communities or in commercial facilities, will not be easy.